Welcome to the Aledo Bearcats Coaches Show podcast, a presentation of Real Country 92.1 Hank FM and NTXVarsitySports.com. Live from Parker County Brewing Company in Willow Park. The Aledo Bearcats Coaches Show podcast is brought to you by H5 Sports Barn in Aledo and Hiley Mazda of Fort Worth. And now, here's the voice of the Bearcats, Kevin Lonnquist.
Hello and welcome to the Aledo Coaches Show podcast. I'm Kevin Lonnquist. We are at Parker County Brewing Company, just off of Ranch House Road here in eastern Parker County. We will bring you every podcast from this location throughout the 2025-26 school year. We're outdoors this afternoon. As always, we want to thank our two main sponsors between H5 Sports Barn and Hiley Mazda of Fort Worth. We continue to appreciate their support of this podcast and Aledo Athletics. Just a reminder that following this podcast, we are taking the week off next week. That's March 16th. Aledo will be enjoying spring break, and then the podcast will return in 2 weeks on March 23rd. With the basketball seasons completed, we turn our attention to soccer and the just completed swimming seasons. Boys and girls soccer seasons conclude this week with their regular seasons, games on Tuesday and Friday. The swimming teams competed at the state meet a couple of weeks ago. As for the soccer teams, well, each has clinched a playoff berth. Now the Bearcats and Lady Cats are chasing District 558 titles. No pressure there for our guests here in just a few moments to talk about that, because I'm going to share with you all the following. Football, volleyball, boys and girls basketball, all won district titles. Oh, and so did cross country and team tennis. So just keep up the good work on that. We'll start with the Lady Cats, and they are under the direction of first-year head coach Taylor May. They're at 11-7-1 and 8-1-1 in District 5-5A. They are trying to hold off Azle for the title. Azle is 8-2. This week will tell the story. The Lady Cats are taking on third place Granbury on Tuesday, then home to Azle on Friday. As for the boys, longtime head coach Derek Vierling has this program at 16-3-1 and 9-0-1 in 5-5A. Bearcats need only 1 point this week to wrap up the title. The same schedule as the Lady Cats, but in opposite directions. Home to Granbury on Tuesday, at Azle on Friday. And just to clarify for the girls, they're at Granbury Tuesday, and then they're home to Azle on Friday. As for swimming, Aledo was in the 5A state meet February 19th and 20th at the Jamale Texas Swimming Center on the campus of the University of Texas. A couple of strong performances on the girls' side. The boys had their best showing in school history. They placed 15th in a field that exceeded 50 programs. A two-segment podcast for you, as always. We will start with soccer. Taylor May is here, along with boys' first varsity assistant and JV head coach Efren Martinez. And I should say that Taylor's going to be joined, too, by senior Adison Clark. So we're happy to have Adison with us here as we're going to talk about their season. Head coach for the boys, Derek Vierling could not be with us as he is out scouting. We should point out that Vierling announced his retirement following this season. Vierling started Aledo boys soccer 25 years ago. Hope to have him on maybe in a couple of weeks. Then in our second segment, we'll wrap up the swimming season with head coach Meghan Roberson, her son Kale, and from the girls team, Julia Gordy. Okay, pleased to be joined now by girls head coach Taylor May, boys first assistant Efren Martinez, and from the girls soccer team, Adison Clark. First of all, congratulations to you all making the playoffs. 2 months in this season really move like lightning. I mean, just like that, even with the weather stoppages and things like that. But first of all, I'm going to start with you, Taylor, just kind of a quick overview of the season, and then Efren, I'll come to you on this, and just getting off to the start in early January, and then here we are competing for a district championship today.
Yeah, it's been a great season so far. I challenged the girls and gave us a pretty hard preseason, something that they could build upon to get into playoffs and to really try to make a playoff run. We've kind of come together for district and we're gluing finally. We're at that peak, I think, where they've settled and they're finding their groove, and so that's what's helped us be successful in district. And
you were talking about we were talking before we started recording this about just the difficulty of playing in a lot of those tournaments where you guys obviously kind of, took some lumps there and went down to a really tough tournament down in Georgetown. So what were the values that you got out of that?
So it was good for them to see the level, and especially with us moving to 6A next year, letting them see what that competition was going to be like, really seeing where our faults were that we could build upon to make sure that we were safeguarding our weaknesses and building upon them for district play.
Adison, I'll come to you here in a second, but before I get into that, Efren, I want to just talk about this team because probably one of the best records I've seen from the boys team in the years that I've been following this team. 16 wins, and there was one streak where you guys had pitched 11 straight shutouts. I've never even heard of anything like that before. So just kind of give us an overview of this season and why it's been like it has.
It's been a really great season. We have a lot of returning lettermen, and so I think, having that foundation of seniors for 4 years, because a lot of them started as freshmen. I believe 6 of them started as freshmen. We had 7 of them all the way from freshmen on the varsity, and they've started for 6 years. And just having that cohesion, that same unit, for 4 years, just building around that and having that catalyst has just been huge. The streak, we talk about it all the time. It's like, how many games, what is the streak? Do we have it in the records? And I don't think we have a record of how many consecutive shutouts we went. I mean, we went into the Crowley tournament. I believe we'd taken 2 losses in our own tournament, and, we were kind of trying to find our identity. And Coach Reeling and I were talking, it's like, what's going to happen? We're going to a 6A tournament and seeing some 6A competition down there. I mean, we ran into Montgomery Lake Creek, which was ranked number 1 in their region at the time. And then we just reeled off from there, and it's like it hasn't stopped since. So it's been awesome.
That's okay, because Aledo and winning streaks kind of go together, or dominant types of streaks go together on this. Adison, I want to turn to you, senior defender on this team. Obviously, you heard what Coach May talked about, but this program obviously had to make a change from Coach Johnson to Coach May here, and I'll get into that deeper. But just for you guys, just kind of going through rough patches early to where you are now, just talk about that experience on the field.
It was definitely a lot of character development and individual development, but it helped us realize how to play as a team. Like, we had a lot of seniors leave, and a lot of people brought up to varsity, so we had to learn how to play together again. And Coach May definitely helped with us finding our flow and realizing what we can actually be put up against. And the stats obviously show something different than what we really learned from those tournaments. So I think it'll help us in the end and in our playoff run.
All right. So unlike the other sports, this last week has some drama to it. And I say unlike the other sports because when they get to the final week of their regular season, their district championships have been ramped up long ago. You guys have a little bit more drama to it because there's some things on the line. And I don't think it's going to be an issue of trying to keep your teams focused for something like that. I'm going to start with you on this, Adison, because 2 more matches to play. You're down in Hood County on Tuesday, and then you're home to Azle. These are the teams that are chasing you. I mean, Granbury's still got a shot to get to the district championship, so you guys know the sense of urgency there. Mm-hmm. Talk about that.
We do. I mean, it's definitely put a lot of stress on us, but it's good. It's helping motivate us, and we know what we're up against. We know, I mean, for years, Granbury's kind of been a struggle for us, and so it's helped us to prepare, and we watch film, and we've learned this team. We know how to play against them, and we also know our strength, and I don't know. I think it'll be good, and yeah, honestly, like, I'm not too worried about it now, knowing, like, we know the team, we know what we're up against.
Sure, and of course you've had the opportunity to play these teams once, so you kind of know who they are. Now, obviously, it's a game of adjustments, and so you're going to have to kind of figure it out as the game flows, because they're going to try and throw something at you differently that you're going to have to be prepared for or adjust to on the fly, that sort of thing, I would think.
Yeah, definitely, especially being at their place, too. It brings a lot of pressure onto us, but, I mean, we've learned them, and we can adjust. We've learned how to. Okay,
so for the coaches here, I mean, the approach you want to take in these last 2 matches against Granbury and Azle, you don't want to make them bigger than what they are, but is this where you want to see your teams play at a higher level? I'll start with you on this, Efren. What more do you think you and Coach Verling and the staff can help to kind of get that little extra as they make this final push?
I think us as coaches just don't put extra pressure on them. Just let, we stick to our game plan, stick to what we've been doing, not change it up. I think the players know what's at stake. As Adison has stated, they know the pressure and what's coming up. So we don't need to add that extra pressure. I mean, it's just, hey, just go get that point. That's all you need is 1 point, and you've clinched it, And so, yeah, just don't add any extra stress to them.
Yeah, you have a little bit of room to work with here. You have the opportunity to get 6. All you need is 1 more point to wrap it up. Not for you, Taylor, where your team pretty much has to kind of win out just to make sure. I mean, you can eliminate Granbury if you take care of business tomorrow, but just talk about that, because because of what these 2 games mean, and so making sure that your team is prepared and focused but not overamped, so that, again, as I mentioned, don't make it bigger than what it is.
Right. I think our preseason, again, in playing those tough teams and seeing what we're up against with Granbury. They've played great soccer. They know how to play great soccer. Like I said, they found their groove, and we just have to get out and do what we do, and they'll be fine.
Okay, so let's continue with you about coming over here. Obviously, your first season, you were at Keller Timber Creek for 5 years. You put together some solid seasons over there, a couple of playoff appearances. What attracted you to this position?
So I've actually wanted to be in Aledo for a long time. Friends with Coach Johnson. I kept asking him, when are you retiring? And, he kept telling me never. And, so I've really been drawn to Aledo. I came and watched a couple of the games last year and really saw a lot of potential in these girls that I was really eager to get a hold of and really just kind of help them blossom and grow into what I saw could be a fantastic team.
Okay. So when candidates pursue opportunities, they want to look into the future and what's coming up through the sub-varsity programs as well as the youth association. And that's going to be important for a candidate evaluating the program, because when I used to cover recruiting, I would always tell the recruits, you're recruiting them as much as they're recruiting you. So for you have to evaluate, what do I have coming up here potentially if they decide to offer me the position here. So what was important to you when you were evaluating this position besides wanting to be in Aledo?
So the growth coming this way is exponential, and seeing some of the middle school games, actually we saw a couple of the middle school games last year as well. There's a lot of talent coming up, and we have so much growth. This program's just going to explode in the next couple of years, I feel, with the players that we have coming. The 8th grade group is fantastic. The 7th grade group. The kids I see at camp, they've got a lot of potential. A lot of the kids further this way are now traveling to Fort Worth and Dallas and playing in the ECRL and ECNL leagues and really developing their skills earlier, which is helping them grow Aledo.
Yeah, I want to ask you about that, Adison, because I'm presuming you've been in this, or you've kind of grown up through in this community for all your life. And so just talk about, from your perspective, the change and the growth of girls soccer in this area from when you started playing, whenever that was, to where you are now since you're a senior.
So I've been playing since I was 4, but I played for Aledo Middle School, and there was definitely a lot of growth there. I mean, I could see with assists what I was going to come into going into high school, getting to play against seniors or juniors, seniors going into high school, or even as a 7th grader. And it was obviously frightening, but I learned a lot, and I've seen the growth that it's been tremendous, honestly, and this year especially. And I don't know, Coach May has helped us really with our chemistry and everything, and assist coming in as a new coach. And yeah, the development's been great, especially with our senior class too. And
just numbers, though, just number of young ladies that are playing this sport. What have you seen just from when you said starting at 4 to, I'm sure you've seen some youth soccer fields filled with young ladies playing, but what have you seen just in terms of just visibility, just from a viewing standpoint of how much the numbers have changed and grown, obviously because this area has grown?
There's a ton of girls playing soccer now, especially, I mean, 7th grade, I don't know, the numbers have been insane. It has grown a lot, and I mean, I've helped with kids playing soccer too, and just, I don't know, the numbers have really grown, I think, from what I've seen. I used to play ECNL, ECRL, and it's insane.
Interesting. Okay, thank you for that. Efren, okay, 7th season for you, riding shotgun with Derek Veerling, who began this program. Program has always been solid, playoff bound, as we talked about. And you kind of mentioned earlier in our discussion about a lot of these guys coming back from last year. But what do you think has kind of changed for the better in terms of this program, maybe taking it to that next level?
I think what's helped is the growth of, like you mentioned, youth soccer, not just on the girls' side, but on the boys' side. A couple years back, our numbers of kids that played club versus didn't, was that gap was so big. Now we're getting to the point that, almost all the kids play club outside of school. And by play club, I mean highly competitive club. And like Coach May had said, playing, in Dallas and Frisco in super competitive leagues and fine-tuning their skills at an early age is only going to be beneficial for us. I mean, we reap the benefits of that. So
okay. So when Derek announced his retirement earlier this year, what was important for not only him and for you as a staff to kind of make sure that this isn't kind of like a celebratory retirement tour or win one for the old coach type of thing, and just make sure that it's a game-by-game task? Because being around Derek as much as I have, and not nearly as enough as you, of course, but he's always wanted to make sure that it's not about him, and let's just make sure that we stay locked into the next event or the next day, that sort of thing, and that sort of thing. So what's been kind of important here to kind of make sure that the season is what it is?
You hit it on the head. He's not about himself. He wants it to be about the boys and about the team and the goal at hand. And so, just from preparation, our practice, our weight room routine, just everything we do, he hasn't changed anything. He hasn't, really talked about it. He, when he mentioned the announcement to the boys, he kind of left it at that and was like, we still got a season to complete, and then he wasn't making it like this is, my goodbye tour type deal. Mm-hmm. It's about, hey, the task at hand, let's go get that district title, let's go to playoffs, let's see how far we can go and ride this train all the way to state,
Okay, and I think he also wanted to outlast Brian for at least 1 year, too.
Yes,
okay.
I can agree with that.
All right, same question for both of you, though, about the transition from 5A to 6A. Going to be up in 6A next year. You played a lot of 6A programs, as you all just mentioned, in your non-district schedule, and obviously, Taylor, for you, you kind of lived it. I mean, I kind of called that the district that you were in was South Lake Carroll, Byron Nelson, and everybody else in that district. I kind of like the soccer version of the District of Death, because for those who don't know, the District of Death in football was the South Dallas County schools with Duncanville, DeSoto, Cedar Hill, and Lancaster. So this was the soccer, the girls' soccer equivalent of that. Yes. But the fact is that anything that's special involved except for just playing 6A teams at the non-conference level, anything you have to do administratively or off the field kind of things to get ready for a transition like this. I'll start with you on this, Efren.
I just think, don't let the lights be brighter than they are. At the end of the day, you're both playing soccer. When that whistle blows, you just got to compete, and not be afraid. And, just have that mentality of we're Aledo, we're successful, and the reason we're successful is because we compete each and every day. So. Okay,
and then what about for you, Taylor? Since, again, you lived it. So.
Yeah, I agree with what Efren said. You just have to compete and make it not bigger than it is. They play soccer, we play soccer. And I think that once, like I said, in our preseason, getting them to see some of those games, kind of preparing us for what is coming, I think that they did great. I think it was something they were maybe not comfortable with in the beginning, just that level, but I think that they took it in stride and we learned a lot, and I think that that's going to help us going into next year and really knowing what's coming for us.
Okay, so let me ask you this on the other side, because I just asked Efren about, obviously, Derek's situation. Okay, but for you, kind of a different situation because you're on the other side of that. You take over for a very successful head coach in Brian Johnson. Yeah. That can be a challenge because some will say, well, do you want to be the person that follows the, if you will, the legend, or do you want to be the person that follows the person that followed the legend, that sort of thing. But you acknowledge everything that he did, obviously. Yeah. It still was important for you to get across to these returning players and those coming up about, hey, I'm Taylor May, I can do this, and I have an acumen behind me that shows that I can do this. And so what was important for you to kind of stress that message of saying, totally respect everything that Coach Johnson did, but you have to help me, and we have to help each other continue what he started.
Right. I told the girls when I met them, I said, I want to help you. I want to grow you. I think Brian did a great job. Big shoes to fill. And I asked him, I said, just trust me and let me lead you and buy into my system, and I'm going to show you some great things, and we're going to grow this team.
All right. And then for Adison, for you, because obviously you're now experiencing that. So talk about Coach Johnson's style and how different or how similar it is to Coach May's style.
Coach Johnson, he had us run almost like a schedule for practice. It was this day we're out here, we're running corners. The next day we're doing passing circles, stuff like that. Coach May's given us a lot of versatility, and she's very hands-on, and she practices with us. She tells us, here, this is what not to do. Let me show you. She gives us visuals as to why and why not to play this way. She's just taught us a lot of flow, honestly, and Coach Johnson was great, and Coach May has just really helped the team blossom in a different way. And I don't know, our practices are so different, and a lot of conditioning that we needed, definitely. But yeah, it's just helped the team be stronger.
Okay, but most importantly, does she still have game?
Yes. Yes. You don't want to go against Coach May.
Okay, I just want to be sure about that. Okay, and then obviously you all know that Coach Johnson had announced his retirement and that sort of thing. But when you make an adjustment like this and you meet her for the first time, I'm sure there's obviously some apprehension, questions, or excitement, or a myriad of emotions you all are feeling here. So when she talked to you for the first time about this is how we do things, I want you to trust me, as she mentioned, what was the initial, and you can be as honest here as you want, we're all friends here, but I mean, just talk about what kind of apprehension or what kind of excitement was there, and then after that discussion, how did that change things for everyone in the locker room?
Initially, I was obviously nervous because going into my senior year with a new coach. You know, I had Johnson since 7th grade. Mm-hmm. But Coach May, when we first met her before assists started or anything going into my senior year. And she really calmed my nerves the first day I met her and just told the team what she expects from us, she wanted to know what we expect from her, that kind of thing. And the locker room was obviously nervous too, but starting off with Coach May and assists and everything, it brought us all a sort of calmness. We knew, she knew what she was talking about. And, yeah, no, I'm grateful. I'm grateful it happened.
Okay, so let's talk about the players who have stepped up for both of your programs this season. This is kind of a layup for you, Taylor, because you got one sitting off to your left. But
sure do.
Besides Adison, anyone else who's kind of really made an impact this season? Maybe they start off kind of in a low spot at the start, and they might have changed, and their trajectory has gone up.
I've got a couple girls who have really shined, who kind of have blossomed this season. Mm-hmm. Addison's been a staple since day one. She works her butt off, and I always can count on her. She's played every position this year for us. Finally got her a goal last game, which was awesome to see.
First goal?
This year, yeah.
This year,
She has 3 assists also.
Okay.
But Allison Weimer, she was great last year too, but she's leading our goals. She's kind of our staple in the middle. Mm-hmm. We have had two of our goalies, both of our varsity goalies, broke their hands.
Oh, no.
Early in the season.
That's not good.
No. So we are another.
Are you going to play?
No.
Okay.
No. We have been playing without a true goalie since we came back from Georgetown.
Holy moly.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Haley Maurer is another senior. She said, Coach May, I'll play goalie. And I said, okay, Haley. And so she's been doing fantastic. She just kind of said it funny, and I threw her in there, and she's been doing great. So we've had some struggles just because she's learning, but she has stepped up, and she's a senior, and she's leading from the back, and she's, the team has really rallied to protect her, which has made us better defensively because we're protecting Haley. Mm-hmm. Offensively, I've had some girls that have shined. Kendall Holcomb has come along, and she's our second leading goal scorer so far. Avery Sands is holding down defense, trying to get her a little bit more attacking, but she is our staple defender. And so they're really blossoming, and I'm very proud of them.
All right, and then Efren, what about for this boys team?
I mean, it's hard to, pinpoint really a couple, obviously the senior group. We have a large senior group. We have 14 seniors, and like I said, just having that staple of a lot of them, of 7 of them being on varsity since they were freshmen has helped. And obviously it's helped, groom and prepare the younger ones. Players that have stepped up, like Grant Gartman, outside back. He played in middle school. We thought he was super talented. He decided to play basketball his freshman and sophomore years. Mm-hmm. And then this year came to us and he goes, I'd like to come back to soccer. And he has started to not look back since. Our back line's pretty solid. We always say, he could arguably be our best defender, but I mean, you can't say that when our back line's so solid. Obviously, Trapper Davis, leading us with 20 goals on the year. And then Kyle Stork, who he was on the varsity last year, but putting up 12 goals this year because, we lost, 2-3 guys that were double-digit goals last year, and it's like, where are we going to find those? Because we have to replace that. That's a huge offensive production. So I think we were able to, find it, and then we have a lot of guys scoring, 4 goals, 3 goals, anywhere from, 3 goals up to 8 goals. So, we have a lot of guys scoring this year.
What about in the net?
In the net, so we have Drew Rose, and then we have Mark Graham as his backup. We have 3 goalkeepers actually on the varsity, and Malachi Barons. And, it was a pretty tight competition at the beginning of the year. We just told him you have to compete every day, and somebody, has to step up eventually. And Drew has done a great job. He was a part of that whole streak. He's been in goal, to start every game when we're on that streak of shutouts. So and wins since, the last loss we had, I can't even remember, but I know the first win.
I think it was before when rocks were new or something like that.
Probably, but I know the first win on that streak was against Arlington Martin, which
Right.
is, a 6A that will be in our district next year.
Right.
So,
the thing about Malachi, obviously, got a chance to call his games kicking for the Bearcats and had a really great finish to his season, too. I think he had a 47-yarder
Right.
before it was all over. So I can see him playing with a lot of confidence that hopefully he's contributing to you guys. Okay, a couple more before we let all of you go here. And so let's talk about the dreaded district points system here, because I look at these district standings here, and I know some of you who are out there who follow soccer look at the point system and go, I have nothing here on this. And so when people look at the ties and they look at the point system, because I was asking you, Taylor, about your tie, your draw, excuse me, let me use the soccer term, draw, the other day, and it was like, well, didn't you all play to a draw with them? And no, they got this. And so just explain to people how the tiebreaker works. By the way, is it the same for the boys and the girls? Okay, so let's talk about this in terms of just the point system, how that actually works, how you collect points. I'm pretty good in terms of when you win, you get X, and that sort of thing. But kind of take us through how many points you get for a win, how many points you get for a tie, and then kind of the devil in the details after that.
So every district can decide whether you ended a tie and it's 1 point, or if you go into shootouts, if you get a tie. Every game's allotted 3 points. So if you get a tie, if you win the shootout, you get 2 points. If you lose the shootout, you get 1.
But it doesn't count as a loss.
It does not. It counts as a tie on your record.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, gotcha on that. Because it's kind of like if you will, it's kind of like a crapshoot on that.
Just for the points, for district standings.
Okay, and so that's kind of where that turned into what we were talking about the other day when we were texting about your situation with that. Okay, and then for you guys, obviously, as you were saying, you have a possible 6 points, but you only need really one more. And so just talk about that, Efren, from the boys' side of things on that.
correct. It's helped, having a strong run through district, and then we're 5 points up on Saginaw, who's sitting second. Mm-hmm. We tied them the other night, went to a shootout. They won the shootout. But even with that, getting a point is crucial. I mean, points are important, and that's, I think, why when we get together as coaches, we look at that, and it's like, points are important, so wouldn't we do the 3-2-1-0 system? Yeah. I mean, it's important because there's some districts that are, wild and say, hey, if you win the shootout, you get all 3 points. Mm-hmm. And that's unheard of.
That's crazy.
That is crazy, but there are those districts that do that. And I'm like, I just feel like if you go to a shootout and you're both competing, you should get some sort of, value for that. So, for us, 6 points up for grabs, and we just need one, just because we started off so hot.
We don't need the periodic table for this either, or anything like that. And so, but seriously, I think too, there are districts though that will just go the win or the tie, and that's it. And then once it ends in a draw, we're done, and that sort of thing. And so, and I would imagine as competitors, and Adison, you can probably speak to this, is that you'd rather, even though it's penalty kicks, and it's kind of like, if your goalie makes the right move and makes the right stop, you win. And if your goalie leans the other way, then it doesn't go in. But I would presume that you would have a declaration of result rather than just a draw. How do you, or at least that would be my read on that, but you tell me.
I agree with that too. Especially going into PKs in itself is super stressful. It's stressful on the keeper, it's stressful on the team. So obviously if you can get that win, then, you're secure. But if you go into PKs, I agree that a point's a point.
Roll of the dice.
Yeah.
That's really what it is in terms of
it really is.
It's pretty much what it is. Okay, finally, and this is for all three of you, playoffs do not start until March 19th. So basically you all have about a week off, and it's kind of that quirky schedule because spring break for Aledo is next week, starts on Monday. So once the regular season ends this coming Friday, again with that awkward timing, what's going to be important for Efren and for Taylor, for you guys to keep this team sharp, and Adison, for you as a player? I'll start with you on this, Taylor.
Yeah, we play Friday, Azel. I'm giving the girls a couple days off, and then we'll come back and we'll practice a couple times before we play, hopefully next Thursday. So just giving them a couple days to regroup and kind of, enjoy the season and have a moment to take a little bit of time off for a couple days and then come back. Normally I've seen that they're rejuvenated and they're ready to play. Mm-hmm. And they, especially for girls, their minds are a little bit different. So
Gotcha. And then
Boys got to keep going.
Yeah, Efren, what about for you?
I mean, Coach May hit it right on the head. I mean, we've got to keep going. So same thing. We'll wrap up district play Friday, and then we've got a tune-up game scheduled on Monday.
Do you? Okay.
Yes, sir.
Who's that
So,
against?
We're scrimmaging. We're playing Benbrook right up the road. So get a tune-up game. You know, and most coaches in the playoffs, we kind of talk to each other about, hey, this is a playoff game. Let's not get anybody hurt.
Yeah.
We're not winning anything right now. It's just a tune-up game. And so we talk about things like formations or the formations we want to look. You know, we try to help each other out because that's the whole point of a tune-up game. Right. Especially, you know, we've got a good buddy coaching at Benbrook, so that's kind of what we talked about. It's like it's kind of a controlled. It's a game. It counts on your record, but it's more like we always say it's a glorified scrimmage.
Sure.
We try to treat it that way.
You know, and it's interesting because I talked to Drew Baker about this, and of course, they had 11 days between when they finished their regular season because they had the bye the last game of the District 5-5A basketball season. And he didn't play a warm-up game that week too. But every coach has their reasons for doing it. So it's interesting that you do it, and so I can see no one's wrong. There's no wrong decision on it. It's just a matter of how comfortable you are. Now, Adison, for you, because you decided to play soccer, you sacrifice spring break every season, so you never get to go anywhere. So no ski trips, no trips to the beach, and so this is what you signed up for. But just as a player, once the season ends on Friday with Azle, hopefully, and I'll say this to both of you, hopefully with district championships in hand, but what's going to be important for you all as a team to make sure that once the season ends on Friday, that you all can get locked in and remain engaged before you start into that first playoff, whenever that is, 19th or 20th?
Definitely taking care of our bodies and getting our rest. That's the main goal for our team as a whole. And honestly, maybe even studying who we're playing, because I'm pretty sure we know who we're playing now. And just making sure we're in the right headspace. And I'll probably check in on the girls before we come to practice and make sure everybody's good. But yeah.
All right, sounds good. Well, listen, I've really enjoyed this visit. We're going to have you all back in a couple of weeks, and hopefully Coach Veerling will be able to join us here. So to my far left is Adison Clark, the senior defender, or I should say the Swiss Army knife for this team. And then we're going to have Taylor May, the girls' coach, and Efren Martinez, the boys' first varsity. Thank you all very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And we want to remind you that this Aledo Coaches Show podcast is brought to you by H5 Sports Barn. H5 Sports Barn and Knife Physio and Performance can help unlock your athletic potential and elevate your game like the Aledo Bearcats. With expert sports physical therapy, tailored recovery plans, and top-notch sports performance training, H5 Sports Barn, proud supporters of the Aledo Bearcats. And by Hiley Mazda. Head to Hiley Mazda of Fort Worth today. Their new state-of-the-art facility is conveniently located just off of I-30. Exit Las Vegas Trail and experience top-notch service and hassle-free buying. Don't forget to ask about this month's special offers. Hiley Mazda of Fort Worth, family-owned and operated for over 30 years. Stick around. Second segment of the podcast coming up. We're going to be talking swimming. Back after this timeout. Welcome back here on the Aledo Coaches Show podcast. Second segment about to come your way. But before we do, just wanted to give you a couple of Aledo notables. Softball is 10-9 and 1-0 in District 5-5A play. Kind of in that transition season, but finding their groove now. Lady Cats are at Saginaw Chisholm Trail on Tuesday. They are home to Keller Fossil Ridge on Friday. Last week they beat Brewer 5-0 in their district opener and then won a non-district game over Rockwall Heath on Friday 13-8. Baseball was preseason number 5 in the 5A state poll back when that poll was released. I think it was in late January. Now the Bearcats are 14-2. They went 3-1 in the Drew Medford Invitational over the weekend. The District 5-5A season opens for them this week, a home-and-home series with the Brewer Bears. Wednesday is at Aledo. Friday is at Brewer. Now, pleased to be joined by the swimming contingent, the trifecta, head coach Meghan Roberson, her son Kale Roberson, and from the girls team, Julia Gordy. Nice to have you all with us. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so congratulations on the season. Coach, I want to ask you, you took a small contingent down there, but they were tiny but mighty. They got the job done. So just talk about coming away with the big results and how what you came out of that a couple weeks ago down in Austin.
Yeah, so we took four boys, 2 alternates, and Julia and her +1.
She was the one that had to round everyone up and keep them all settled, right? And so
always.
She was
yeah.
the ringmaster, right?
Ringmaster or trouble starter,
Okay.
you never know.
You have to pick one. Okay, but anyway.
One at a time.
Okay. Anyway, just talk about how they performed and what you got out of it. And so.
Yeah, it's a tricky part of the season, right? Because we've got a very competitive region that we go into. And so we spend a good chunk of the time preparing. We make it out of district pretty unscathed, and then we've got to drop them down and taper them and rest them to perform well at region so that they can make it out to go to state. And the turnaround from region into state is pretty tight. It's about 2 weeks. And in swimming, that's not a lot of time to get back up to the volume, back up to the intensity we're at before allowing us to really drop off again and prepare for state. So you kind of have to pick one or the other. And, we obviously want to go. We want to be competitive at state, and we want to do well at region. Our boys actually took second at region this year. You did, yeah.
Breaking news, by the way, to Kale, apparently. And so.
Well, with the swimmers, they're really concerned more with, they want to win as a team, I think. Like, that's, especially in high school swim, they want the team win. But when they're at the meets, I think they're more concerned with their own times and how they're individually swimming.
Sure.
But in any case, it's a drop to go back to state, and so we kind of prioritize region so that we can get it out and go to state. And so when we get to state, it's kind of, okay, whatever momentum we've got, we hold on to. And I think that's kind of how the swims performed, is they were on par with what we've done for the season, but no breakout crazy swims, with the exception of the relays. I think the boys really got pumped up, and we kind of changed our relay strategy around a bit this year. Traditionally in swim, you will go, you'll swim your second fastest as the lead off. 3 and 2 can kind of mix around in the middle there, go back and forth, and then your fastest is always your anchor.
Right.
We've actually switched it around so that we send our slowest first, and it allows the next 3 to play catch up. And they really like that. It's kind of gamified the race for them. And doing that, we were able to pull out two new team records at state on that one. So those were really good races.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm going to get to that here in a second about the school records in both those relays here. But for the boys to finish 15th out of, what was it, 52 teams, I think?
52 scoring teams.
52 scoring teams. So because some schools will send individuals or maybe one relay team or something like that.
Well, and even the relays can score, but you have to be top 24 to score.
Okay.
And so there are several teams who will go and not score any points.
Okay, and thank you for that. But the highest finish ever for the boys program in history.
Yes.
Something to hang your hat on too. I mean, that's a tremendous accomplishment on that.
It is. It really, though, speaks, I think, to the time and effort that these guys are willing to put into the pool. Certainly, I facilitate it, and there's a strategy behind it, but it's their work. It's their dedication to the sport.
Okay, Julia, for you, obviously in the 200 freestyle, for you, take us through the strategy of your race, how you started, how you finished. Was it what you wanted it to be? I mean, people will look at placements and say, well, they are what they are, but at the same time for you, but it's like I don't think people understand how many kids are actually racing in these things and what a challenge it is just to get out of prelims to get to the finals on that. So take us through your race.
Yeah, so for me, it was more about like getting to state than actually swimming the race there. It was just a big accomplishment for me to get first place in our region. As for state, I got 22nd out of 24, so not the best thing ever. But my strategy is basically so it's 450s, which is down and back. And I take it out controlled, so like I would say strong. And then my strategy is to build the other 350s. So I go out strong, get faster on the second 50, faster on the third 50, and then I just sprint the last one. And it wasn't my best swim, it wasn't my best time, but I think that I did give that race my all, and I'm happy to call that like my last race as a swimmer.
I was going to say, okay, but for you, for the regional championship that you took home, I mean, you can take that and live with that for the rest of your life. And the fact, so just talk about the thrill of winning something like that.
Yeah, it's pretty nice. I mean, that's definitely the best I've ever swam my race. I had my new suit. I was all prepared. I was ready to go in there because like I know that's my race. That's my thing. I can just go out and get it. So winning it was definitely, all the hard work paid off, all of the early mornings, all of the gym sessions, it finally came to a close, and I'm really happy with how it ended.
It's kind of like an ends justifying the means kind of thing.
It definitely is, yeah. All the hard work paid off. I don't regret anything.
No, for sure. Kale, let's talk a little bit about your strong performances. 6th in the 100 free, and then 10th in the 200 individual medley. So what was the key in each of those races there? Because it's a great feeling there to have two top 10 finishes there. If I can talk, that would help too. But 2 top 10 finishes on that. So
yes, sir. I mean, for the 100, I was really focused on just ripping it, making sure I could get through as fast as I could, because especially in the 100, it's a sprint event. So if you think you're done. And then when we got to the 2IM, same deal with the race strategy, the controlled build, fastest. And then with the IM being like a 50 of each stroke, I had an idea of what I wanted to focus on for each stroke that I knew would help me get faster. Like for my fly, I knew I needed to work on my reach to help pull a more efficient stroke. And then backstroke, I know I need to keep my head back, stay streamlined. Breaststroke, underwaters were key there. And then freestyle, I've raced freestyle so much that it's just kind of become automatic, and I know I can just rip that at the end and get there, and I rely on that a lot to help close my race and win a lot.
do you consider that your strongest stroke of all the four?
Yes, sir.
Okay, for sure. Okay, so let me ask you this. Okay, so let's talk about the 2 relay teams. The boys 200 freestyle, they were 9th, new school record, 1 minute 29.7 seconds. 400 freestyle, they were 12th, which is also a new school record of 3 minutes 17.86 seconds. So just take us through those events. I love watching relays, regardless of the sport, whether it's swimming or on track or anything like that, because I call it organized chaos, because there's just this cheerleading from the stands and from the teammates to try and push each other, whether they're in their lane or on the lane in the track, that sort of thing. So just take us through those 2.
Yes, sir. So kind of piggybacking off what you just said, I always think of the 4x1 as the main event of the meet. Like that's how you close it. It's always a sprint for everybody, and it's usually fairly close. I think it was really cool this year because I knew that we had a strong performance last year, but we lost one of our seniors who was fairly quick. But we also brought on a new freshman this year who is incredible. Came on, just took it in stride, and he definitely helped us a lot to push those relays further. And then the 200 free relay, that one is kind of a unique one because most of the time I feel like we just end up racing that because we can't do the medley with some event lineups because we have Parker, the freshman, in our 2 free for the guys, and that's right immediately after the medley relay. And then there's me in the 2IM, which is right after the 2 free.
All right. Julia, for you, I'm presuming throughout your swimming career, you've been on some relay teams as well.
Yes, sir.
All right. So talk about a little bit, were you on any relay teams this year with the girls program? Or were you?
Yes, we did have a girls relay this year, but unfortunately we didn't qualify for state.
Okay, but just take us through it from your perspective too. I mean, since he talked about that, just the chaos of going through a race like that and making sure that you stay locked in. And you really can't hear the noise because you're so locked in your job, or can you? And so,
no, you can't at all. Like they could be right outside of your lane screaming at you and you wouldn't even know. It's pure adrenaline and water basically.
And what was the relay or relays that you were on this year?
So I have been on the 200 freestyle relay and the 400 freestyle relay for the past 3 years. My sophomore year and my junior year, we qualified those for state. And I think that relays really are my strong suit because for me it's just like it's coming out and supporting your team and doing it for other people and not necessarily yourself. So I think the knowledge of knowing that like your time and your placement doesn't only lie on you really just helps push you further and make it an even better event.
What leg were you on in these relays this year?
This year I was anchoring, I was going first.
Okay.
So I have good lead-offs, not good relay starts.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, what about for you? I meant to ask you this too, Kale, on what leg you swim on each of those relays.
I anchor both of them.
Okay, so it's all on you.
Yes, sir.
You better finish it, right? And so, because someone's going to be kind of like giving you an earful on the drive home, right? And so,
yes, sir.
Okay, gotcha on that. Okay, I want to ask you this, Coach Roberson, about just building this program. We had you on last year when you had some accomplishments as well, and just overall, what have you seen just in your time here and where you think it can go moving forward? Especially now it's going up to 6A.
Yeah, and so 6A is going to be a challenge for us for sure. We won't see our regional alignments for probably another couple weeks. We sit in a little weird land of our own alignments. Not everyone has pools, not everyone has teams.
Right.
And so we don't get to follow the traditional Aledo alignment. But I think along with that, like the program is really the boys are in a strong phase right now. We don't graduate out of one of them.
Oh, wow, okay.
Yeah, and so the entire record-setting relay is 3 juniors and a freshman. And they're only getting bigger and stronger. So I think our boys, bold prediction, but I think we'll get our first district win next year at 6A. We're pretty confident we'll go into a region or a district with Granbury and some of the Arlington schools. And so that'll be, I think that'll be really good for us. I think our region, though, we're staring down kind of the swimming titans. Mm-hmm. If alignment goes the way we predict it will, with Keller and Southlake and things like that. And they just have phenomenal, really strong programs. So that'll be tough. But I think our boys next year with the senior class and then, Parker kind of picking up the middle because he'll be a sophomore now. I think the boys will stand to do pretty well. The girls, we graduated out, you mentioned we had some really standout last year. We graduated out Haley, and we graduated out Victoria, and we graduated out Avery. And, we lost a lot of just consistent swims. Mm-hmm. And we're still kind of building them up. I mean, Julia's on a relay. She's the only senior I have this year. Mm-hmm. And we had two sophomores and a freshman. So the girls are coming in strong, but they're rebuilding. And so it's kind of just this neat balance of, okay, the boys are strong now, the girls were strong last year, the boys are here now, mm-hmm. The girls are coming back up. And I think once these guys graduated out, the girls will be back to being strong again.
All right. Julia, to wrap this up, obviously you mentioned state was your last swim. You're done doing that. But what do you hope, the mark that you left in terms of your legacy helping to build swimming and obviously helping all those underclassmen get through a season like this?
I just hope that they all keep having fun. I think that it's a sport that is very hard, and we spend a lot of time together. We are all together from 5:30 to 9:30 in the morning. Mm-hmm. And I think that just having a good time and treating everybody like your family and just really putting all your stuff aside and going in and having a great time with everyone makes it what it is.
I was gonna say this to both of you here. You can comment on this. I've kind of looked at swimmers kind of like cross-country runners, and it's kind of and the sports are similar from the dynamic that it's all self-driven. You either really want to do it or you really don't. Am I wrong in saying that? I'll start with you on that, Kale.
No, it's not a crazy statement. It's definitely, as we go to over summer, it's hard to find motivation, but I know that if I don't do it, I'm going to come back and not be at the same level that I need to be. Because especially in swimming, it's one of those sports where you drop it for a week and it feels like it's been 2 years since you last swam.
And what was it like for you, Julia? I mean, I know it's all different for you now since you just kind of got out of the pool, but what was the mentality, same mentality like it was when you were going through it?
It's an all or nothing kind of thing. It can be very hard to have the wake ups and have the motivation to go to all these practices, but it does pay off. So I think the thought process is just to get through it and try to have as much fun as you can and just keep going.
Yeah, and that Region 1 title is proof of all that. So all those early wake-ups, they did mean something. Okay.
They did.
Head coach Meghan Roberson, Kale Roberson, her son, and also Julia Gordy, thank you all for being with us here.
Thank
and
you.
Congratulations on a wonderful season.
Thank you.
And before we wrap this up, just want to remind you again that this Aledo Coaches Show podcast is brought to you by H5 Sports Barn. H5 Sports Barn and iPhysio and Performance can help unlock your athletic potential and elevate your game like the Aledo Bearcats. With expert sports physical therapy, tailored recovery plans, and top-notch sports performance training, H5 Sports Barn, proud supporters of the Aledo Bearcats. And by Hiley Mazda, head to Hiley Mazda of Fort Worth today. Their new state-of-the-art facility is conveniently located just off of I-30. Exit Las Vegas Trail and experience top-notch service and hassle-free buying. Don't forget to ask about this month's special offers. Hiley Mazda of Fort Worth, family-owned and operated for over 30 years. For my engineer, Brian Torres, and the Hank FM staff, thanks for being with us here at Parker County Brewing Company. We will talk to you in 2 weeks after spring break, and we will talk soccer playoffs. I'm Kevin Lonnquist, and so long for the Aledo Coaches Show podcast.
Thanks for listening to the Aledo Coaches Show podcast, brought to you by H5 Sports Barn in Aledo and Hiley Mazda of Fort Worth. With the voice of the Bearcats, Kevin Lonnquist. Please like and subscribe to this podcast and tell a friend. You're also welcome to join us every Monday night at 7 from Parker County Brewing Company in Willow Park. It's the Aledo Coaches Show podcast, a presentation of Real Country 92.1, Hank FM, and NTXVarsitySports.com.